Before the stone archways were raised, and before the priests named their forgotten deities, there was only the cold truth of the claw and the tooth. This is not a world of justice, nor is it governed by fairness. It is ruled by scarcity and the blunt edge of necessity. The men who forget this truth, the civilized ones, they build their high walls not against the enemy, but against reality itself. They think a parchment covered in ink can stop a sword, or that a soft bed can keep the darkness out. They are fools. The wind respects no king, and the grave recognizes no title. Look closely at their pampered faces, slick with scented oil. They confuse comfort for victory. But comfort is merely a slow death, a soft sheath for a blade that has forgotten how to cut. The city of Tarantia, a jewel they call it. I call it a grave dug deep into the silt of the Styx River. The air is thick here, not with the sharp tang of battle smoke, but with the cloying scent of imported perfume and the stale breath of men who live too long indoors. Outside, the northern wind claws at the iron gates, carrying the grit of true reality, the sand and the memory of cold, unforgiving stone. Inside, the silks whisper expensive secrets, and the fires burn too high, chasing away the useful, guiding shadows. These pampered lords, their hands smooth from lack of honest toil, clutch small cups of watered wine. They believe their stacked coffers and high walls insulate them from the fundamental laws of existence. They are like fat, slow cattle, fed on the finest grain, who have forgotten the necessary hunger and the necessary fear. The softness they cultivate is the fertile ground for their inevitable decay, and the only harvest they will reap is ruin. I sat across from Lord Valerius, a man whose lineage stretched back 4 centuries, yet whose spine seemed incapable of holding itself upright. We were in his private salon, heavy velvet draped against the night. The incident was small, a trifle to a man hardened by frostbite or the axe. A minor trade fleet, loaded with rare spices from Shem, had been lost in a sudden violent storm off the coast of Zingara. A setback, a mere calculation error in the ledger of the gods. Valerius, however, was pale, his soft flesh trembling. "Ruin," he hissed, the word tasting like ash. He was distraught, not by the deaths of the sailors, those were nameless costs, but by the loss of projected wealth. The world had dared to disobey his carefully drawn maps, and the sight of this fragile distress, this absolute dependence on predictable comfort, was more sickening than the stench of 1,000 rotting corpses. The storm was the incident. Valerius's reaction was the true crime. Valerius spoke of recourse, of legal maneuverings, of petitioning the king for compensation, a civilized absurdity. He saw the storm not as a force of nature, but as a breach of contract. This is the great deceit of the city, that there is always someone higher to appeal to, a law, a god, a king who can bend the world back into shape. "The sea owes you nothing, Lord," I told him, the words grating against the polished room. He flinched, as if struck. "Barbarian talk," he sneered, pulling his silk tunic tighter. "You seek merely to survive the moment. We build for posterity. We create order against chaos." He believed his delicate system of credit and debt was stronger than granite. He resisted the brute simplicity of the truth, that if you cannot physically replace what you lost, it is truly gone. That reliance on distant, soft hands to fix your problems is the cornerstone of all weakness. He was arguing against the necessary pain that builds true resilience. My method is simple. It is the method of the wolf caught in a steel trap. Bite the limb off. It is the method of the frost-bitten man. Endure the cold until the sun returns, knowing the pain is the measurement of your own survival. I did not offer Valerius a lawyer or a loan. I offered him a blunt, cold perspective, like a chipped axe head. You lost gold. Did you lose your hands? Did you lose your memory of the sun? I pressed him. The true capital of a man is his ability to endure loss without breaking. It is the steel within the soul, not the steel in the vault. He could only see the broken accounts. I saw the unbroken man beneath the silks. My action was to force him, mentally, back onto the stone of the Cimmerian hills, where survival meant moving, not whining, and where the loss of a hide or a hunting dog was met with a grim silence and immediate, practical recalculation. The mask fell when I asked a simple question. If the king vanished tomorrow and the currency turned to mud, what resource would you still possess? The truth hit him like a mailed fist. He possessed nothing of substance, no skill to forge steel, no strength to hunt, no fortitude to face starvation. His existence was contingent on complex, invisible layers of protection provided by others. This was the first revelation. The civilized man does not own his life. He rents it from the system. He trades his inherent power, the power of self-reliance, the raw, brutal capacity to make things happen, for the illusion of safety. The spice ships were merely a symptom. The real collapse was internal. Valerius was not ruined by the storm. He was exposed by it. He was a magnificent, delicate bird in a golden cage, and the moment the latch bent, he realized he had forgotten how to fly. Think of a wolf. It suffers the winter. It tracks the deer. It kills or it starves. Its entire life is a dialogue with pain and consequence, and this struggle hones it into a perfect machine of survival. Now, think of a pampered house dog, fat and slow, reliant on a servant's hand for its dish. Valerius is the dog. The comfort of Aquilonia is the dish. When the servant is late, the dog whines, confused, unable to feed itself. This is the mechanism of dependence. Every convenience is a chemical detector, subtly stripping the user of the skill it replaces. A man who rides everywhere forgets how to walk long distances. A man who pays for protection forgets how to fight. Civilization does not elevate man. It specializes him, making him exquisitely good at one small, soft thing, like accounting or poetry, but utterly brittle against the sudden, large demands of a hostile reality. It is a debt paid in lost resilience. This brittle, civilized dependency means the slightest tremor threatens total chaos. The loss of a fleet for Valerius is not a reduction of profit. It is the philosophical shattering of his ordered universe. If the sea can simply swallow his wealth, then his walls, his laws, and his title are merely temporary postponements of his demise. All the silks, all the polished wood, all the elaborate social rules are exposed as a thin veneer over raw mud. What we knew before, what Valerius relied upon, was a guaranteed continuity, that the ships would sail, the contracts would be honored, and the money would flow. But when the guarantee fails, the man who lives on guarantees collapses faster than the hovel of the barbarian. The consequence is simple. Comfort breeds catastrophe, because it eliminates the habit of necessary suffering. But the danger is not just the external storm, it is the internal famine. When I left Valerius, he was demanding stronger wine and dictating letters to frantic scribes. He was using the accustomed tools of his weakness, trying to rebuild the fragile wall. The new challenge, the second mystery, is whether a man, once broken by comfort, can ever choose the burden of self-reliance again. It is easier to pursue the next soft guarantee, the next loan, the next political favor. The true test of a barbarian is facing the blizzard. The true test of a civilized man is recognizing his weakness and choosing the arduous path back to strength. Few ever do. They are terrified of the silence of the wilderness, because in that quiet, they hear the true, empty echo of their own unearned existence. The bigger picture is the cycle of empire, written in the debris of fallen stone. Every great kingdom begins with men who were forged in the fire of scarcity, men who fought the cold, the beasts, and the savage neighbors. They build the walls and write the first laws out of necessity, with hands still scarred by the axe handle. But their children, born within those walls, inherit the protection without earning it. They mistake the fruits of labor for natural abundance. They grow fat and forget the primal struggle that created their safety. Aquilonia is simply another layer of deep loam, built over the ruins of Acheron and Velusia before it. The ecosystem of history demands that comfort lead to decay, and decay invite the sharp, hungry teeth from the outside. The barbarian is the inevitable consequence of the civilized man's softness. We are the auditors of reality, arriving when the ledger shows too much debt in dependence. What remains when the silks are torn and the gold is scattered is the cold, hard rock of the land and the muscle memory of the man who learned how to use his hands. Valerius will rebuild his fleet, or his son will, perhaps. They will stack their coins higher and secure new, finer guarantees. But the underlying weakness persists, like rot beneath the paint. The legacy of comfort is not wealth. It is a profound, debilitating fear of risk. Look at the ancient statues of forgotten gods in the desert. They are broken, silent monuments to men who believed their invented order was eternal. All that survived their arrogance was the desert wind and the unbreakable stone. Only the lessons bought with blood, sweat, and loss endure. The steel of the spirit is forged only when the hammer of misfortune is allowed to strike, clean and hard. The cost of comfort is paid in the currency of the soul, self-reliance. It is paid with the knowledge that you can face the brutal, chaotic, random swing of the universe and not shatter. Valerius learned nothing from the storm, only that he needed thicker walls. But the wise man, the true man, knows that the storm is not something to be avoided. It is something to be endured. Build your walls high, gorge yourself on wine and fine meats, and forget the scent of the wild, cold wind. But know this, the world outside your gate waits, patient and eternal. And when the walls finally crack, the barbarians will not be coming to conquer your gold. We will be coming to reclaim the men you failed to become. Survival is not a right granted by a king. It is a debt paid daily in hard effort and continuous vigilance. Let the weak men tremble. The strong merely calculate the next move.